dropping the bucket. Next on Sports Time Ohio. A chilly night in downtown Cleveland as the Indians and the Royals continue their 4-game series. We've got the play-by-play coming up right here at Progressive Field. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Kansas City came back to even the series at a game apiece last night. Indians need a good start. Justin Masterson's on the hill, and he's coming off one of his better starts this year. He went 6+ innings and only gave up 2 runs his last time out.
Had a chance to get through that 7th. He couldn't do it. You would like to see him get 7 tonight. He had a very good slider in his last start. He was throwing this 2-seamer in. He seemed to throw a few more 4-seamers in that start as well. So we'll see if Justin Masterson can take his team out there, give him the lead, turn it over to the bullpen if he has to. 1-1 last year against the Royals. He'll be matched up against Jason Vargas. Off to a tremendous start this year, 2-0, 2-2 in his career. The only runs he's given up, which are 4, coming by the long ball.
All right, so the Indians will try to get some mojo going against a left-hander. They've lost 6 of 7 games against left-handed starters so far this year, and they're averaging just 2.3 runs per game against them. So hopefully Justin Masterson brings his A game and the bats get going. The play-by-play is next.
Is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Panini's. Get overstuffed at Panini's Bar and Grill. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more.
Indians and the Royals ready to go here tonight at Progressive Field. Let's quickly take you through the KC starting 9 for Ned Yost. It's brought to you by Toyota. Nori Aoki leading it off, followed by Omar Infante. Then Big Eric Hosmer bats third. Butler, Gordon, Perez in the middle. Mike Moustakas seventh, and Alcides Escobar and Gerard Dyson batting ninth. Justin Masterson coming off a very good start his last time out. He lets it fly, and it's a 4-seam fastball in there for a strike. Masterson with that sinking fastball that time down out of the zone, and Aoki lays off of it to even the count at 1-1.
44 degrees, our game time temperature. Another brisk evening here at the ball yard as Cabrera scoops it up, throws him out one away.
Let's check the key at defense for the Cleveland Indians tonight behind Justin Masterson. It looks like this. Brantley is in left, Bourne in center. Rayburn gets the start in right against the lefty. Aviles also at third base. Cabrera at short. Kipnis is at second. Swisher at first. Gomes behind the plate. Justin Masterson, our GMC pitcher, coming off a good start against Toronto. We'll see if he can keep it rolling here against Kansas City. He was 1-1 against them last year, 5-6 in his career.
Omar Infante takes a swing at the first pitch. Kipnis has a long way to go to cut it off, and an off-balance throw is in time for out number 2. Well played by Jason Kipnis. He was shading him up the middle, but Infante trying to go the other way. Ball looked like it might have checked up a little bit on that first big hop, enabling Kipnis to get over, cut it off, and throws him out.
Maybe a little bit off the end of the bat as well because it didn't get through the infield like he thought it would. But he gets him by a half a step.
2 quick outs, and Eric Hosmer steps to the plate. Hosmer coming off a terrific game last night. He was 4 for 5 with a couple of doubles. Just a little bit outside, and the count 2-0 now. Hit hard into right field. Another hit for Hosmer. Seems like every time he puts the bat on the ball, it's hit hard, whether he's making it out or delivering a hit.
He's swinging it and seeing the baseball very well, and with a 2-0 count, Hosmer gets a fastball that's right there, and right down the middle of the plate, so he was ready for it. He jumped on it and got a base hit, so he continues to swing a hot bat.
The inning continues now as Billy Butler steps in. Butler DHing. After an 0-for in the series opener, he came back with a couple of hits last night. After struggling through an 0-for-21 slump, Butler has picked up multi-hit games 3 times in the last 4 contests.
Well, and Butler, in his career, a .294 hitter against the Indians. He's a tough guy to keep down because he's had a lot of big hits against them in his career. You remember a guy like Mike Sweeney used to play with Kansas City. He'd step up, and he used to wear out the Indians.
Taking a look at the umpires tonight, Adam Hamari calling the balls and strikes. Greg Gibson at first, crew chief Bill Miller at second, and Vic Carapazza is down at third. 1-2 the count for Butler now with Hosmer aboard at first. Swing and a miss. Masterson strikes him out with a good sinking fastball, and the inning is over. No runs, a hit, a man left. The Indians are coming to bat.
No score, bottom of the first. We'll take a look at the Indians starting lineup for Terry Francona, brought to you by Progressive. Michael Bourne in the top spot, followed by Nick Swisher heating it up. 3 doubles in the series already. Then Jason Kipnis, followed by Carlos Santana, Ryan Rayburn, and Michael Brantley. Asdrubal Cabrera 7th, Yan Gomes 8th, and Mike Aviles getting the start, batting 9th.
GMC pitcher for the Royals tonight, Jason Vargas, who's off to a very good start in his first 4 starts. You can see his record, his ERA, excellent. He's pitched at least 7 innings in every start. He pitched 8 innings in 1 start against Tampa. He's been very good. The only runs he's given up come off the long ball. He's given up 2 solo shots and a 2-run homer.
Michael Bourne takes a strike. And he ropes this one into right field, a base hit. So Michael Bourne's starting to pick up the pace now. That's 4 hits in the series for the Indians' leadoff man. Our great clip of the game going back to last night. Bourne first time up, smacked one right back up the middle. Next time up with 2 outs and the bases loaded, drilled an RBI single into right field. Well, hopefully that continues for Bourne.
No doubt at the top of the lineup, setting the table.
Well, Nick Swisher takes the ball outside. Showed you in the starting lineup. He's starting to heat up. He's 4 for 8 in the series, 3 doubles. Five hits in his last 11 at-bats overall. 3-game hitting streak for Swish.
Swish starting to use more of the field, it seems like, too, from both sides of the plate. Going to right center from this side. From the left side of the plate, he had a couple of doubles off the wall. Base hit to left field. Keep the swing short.
That's down low, 2 balls and a strike.
Vargas was signed to a 4-year deal early in the free agent offseason in November, the 22nd. KC locked him in for 4 years for quite a bit of money, but they wanted a left-handed starter. They went out with the Angels last year. We last time faced him was with Seattle. He was 9-8 last year with the Angels with an ERA of right around 4 and 150 innings. He's a fastball, changeup kind of guy, and he'll spin one up there too as the little breaking ball.
2-1 the count for Swisher. Little bit outside, 3-1. Jason Kipnis waits in the on-deck circle here in inning number 1 as the Indians try to get off to a good start tonight.
Oh, by the way, the Yankees at Boston. Yes.
Ball 4, it was close, but Swisher draws the walk, and the Indians have 2 on with nobody out.
Check out the Kia defense for the Kansas City Royals tonight. It'll be Gordon in left, Dyson in center, Aoki is in right, Moustakas at third, Escobar is short, Infante is at second, Hosmer at first, Perez behind the plate. So the 3rd game of the series, same lineup every time out there.
Now Jason Kipnis. He squares. And Bourne is going to try to get to third, but he's thrown out easily.
Big mistake there. Kipnis, I think, was bunting on his own. Bourne got caught in nowhere's land. He was going to go to third like there was no sign put on, and you got to make sure the guy gets the ball down first, and he gets picked. See, Kipnis didn't like it. He takes it back, but Bourne got caught out in the middle of nowhere. There was nowhere for him to go, so a base-running blunder will give him the first out of the inning. Mistakes.
In the dirt, nicely stopped by Perez. Kipnis takes. It's a strike over the outside part of the plate. Another good block by Perez. 2-2 the count now for Jason Kipnis. With 1-on-1 out here in the first, and the Indians had it set up potentially for a fruitful inning with the first two on and nobody out. But Michael Bourne got caught out in no man's land, and now one out as Kipnis fouls it right back. Carlos Santana in the on-deck circle. Delivers a nice souvenir to a young fan. Just underway here at Progressive Field. Justin Masterson, a 1-2. A scoreless first inning, gave up a one-base hit to Eric Hosmer. But then struck out Butler to end the top half of the first. Now Kipnis, swing and a miss. He was out in front. Vargas gets his first strikeout, 2 down. Keys to the game brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital. Masterson looking for some success. And offensively, the Indians could use some productivity from Carlos Santana and Asdrubal Cabrera. And the Indians so far this year, 1-6 against left-handed starters. Santana looks at the ball down low. Santana 0 for 12. But the reason that batting average is a buck and some change is that in addition to that 0 for 12, 2 for his last 42.
Boy, that's a pretty good slump.
That covers 11 games.
Pretty good slump. You don't even want to look at the board.
And the 2-0. Hit hard but foul. Our stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Last year, the Indians had their way with left-handed starters. But so far this year, it's been the other way around.
Yeah, it has to this point. We went through a stretch where we saw 4 consecutive, 5 out of 6. Now we will see one tonight and also one tomorrow on the 12 o'clock game.
Bruce Chen will go for the Royals in the series finale tomorrow.
And, you know, Vargas throws it about 88, right around there, 87 to 90 with the changeup. Chen is down to 83, 82, 81. He'll throw it even slower than this tomorrow.
3-1 to Santana. Back out of play at a full count. Corey Kluber going for the Indians tomorrow in the finale. We'll have it for you at high noon right here on Sports Time Ohio.
Yeah, and then for the weekend we go back into interleague play.
The San Francisco Giants await the Indians.
Yes, they do. They play in Colorado and will head home.
Swisher will be off on a 3-2 pitch. And Santana hits it foul the other way. The Giants, like the Indians, just kind of hovering around that 500 mark. San Francisco began the day 11-10. Indians are currently 9-11. Vargas again with a 3-2 pitch. And it's ball 4. He's walked 2 in the inning.
That's going to give Ryan Rayburn a chance to bat now. Breaking ball in there for a strike. One of the reasons the Indians had great success against left-handed starters last year was the play of the pure right-handed hitters of Ryan Rayburn, Yan Gomes, Mike Aviles. But so far this year, Gomes and Rayburn off to slow starts against the lefties. Rayburn is 5 out of 24 against southpaws. Gomes 3 for 19. Aviles, who's in the lineup batting ninth, he's done his part, batting .389 so far against the lefties.
You know, we talk about every year is different. You know, whether you're a left-hander, you hit lefties or righties, and it could go haywire at any time, or it can go the other way. It can go very good. But I think that'll be a trend. And the reason why teams like to throw the left-handers against the Indians is because you have Bourne, Kipnis, Brantley. But the Kipnis and Brantley, they hit left-handers as well as they hit right-handers, so it really doesn't matter.
Rayburn pops it up. Is it playable? Hosmer over to the railing. Makes the catch. Well, the Indians had some opportunities here in the first. They cannot cash in. No score after one. Ball is brought to you by your Northeast Ohio Honda dealers, by the Cleveland Clinic. Call today for an appointment today, and by the Northeast Ohio Ford dealers. No score, second inning at chilly Progressive Field tonight. Alex Gordon will lead it off for Kansas City, then Salvador Perez, followed then by Mike Moustakas. Gordon looks at a fastball over the outside corner for strike one. Nice piece of pitching right there. Almost, sometimes Masterson's pitch almost has the look of a changeup because that fastball has so much movement on it, that sinker.
That was at 89 miles per hour. And, he's not throwing as hard as he was last year mechanically, but he still has to throw his four-seamer more. And last start, 2 starts ago, when he struggled, he was throwing like 23% four-seamers. This last start against Toronto, he threw 50% more, or 50% four-seamers. So he's starting to get a feel for that fastball more. And the two-seamers, the one that That's what you use when you get ahead.
Unless the drop in velocity is directly related to some type of an injury, do we get too caught up in times looking at the miles per hour on the pitches?
I think so, yes. It's all about location.
Bat goes flying back at Masterson, but he quickly eluded the oncoming bat, and that is out number 1.
Bat was high-stepping the bat.
Yes, he was.
Watch the footwork here after he gets it. Let's get out of the way. The high hurdle, man.
High stepping.
Yes, indeed.
That's a great look at that sinking fastball. You could see the way it comes off the fingers and how it tumbles.
That's a good look at the sinking barrel head of that bat. Get out of the way. Get the out.
Salvador Perez steps in. Drives it to deep center. Bourne turns his back. Going back. Looking up. Gone. Perez snaps an 0 for 22 slump with his first home run of the year. And it gives Kansas City a 1-0 lead. Well, that's one way to break out of a slump.
Well, Perez is a guy that likes to get aggressive early in the count. And that's what you talk about, middle of the plate. You got to stay, depending on, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. When you leave it middle, guys don't miss it too often. And the hitters will let you know when you make a mistake. And there was one right there, and it's not coming back. So Kansas City takes an early 1-0 lead.
Mike Moustakas had the big home run last night for the Royals. It was a 3-run shot. And effectively a backbreaker for Tribe starter Danny Salazar. Royals came in the weakest home run hitting team in the league, but big one last night. Now a solo shot gets him on the board first here this evening.
Yeah, not much. Solo shots are going to come. They come from, maybe a mistake, which it was. All right, there's a base hit it's done with, but that guy broke an 0 for 22 slump. That's the one you want to keep quiet until he gets out of town.
Perez hadn't had a hit in his last 5 games.
Well, he's usually too good for that, but...
Another long fly ball, deep right, and that's gone. So Mike Moustakas has homered in back-to-back games, and the Royals have hit back-to-back homers here in the second inning, and they lead it 2-0. Masterson had given up just 1 home run in his first 4 starts this season. But he's given up back-to-back jacks here in the second.
Moustakas is 4th. Boy, you look at locations, and it certainly tells you. Swinging room, and he gets it. It just goes into their bullpen. I mean, right in the bullpen. So it just barely made it over that line, but good enough for a 2-0 lead.
And now Alcides Escobar takes a fastball for a strike.
Who was it that hit them? Oh, God.
Upstairs with it. And a count 1-1.
Well, we could call him pretty Pat Perez.
Funny how we just got done talking about velocity and if it's a factor or not, or how important it is, and the next thing you know, back-to-back home runs. But your point is it's more about where the pitch is, not how hard it's thrown.
Yes, location. Look, you may give up base hits and then keep the ball in the ballpark. Usually when you see home run pitches, they are mistakes. Not all the time, but I would say most of the time. You're going to see that catcher, and it's going to be really middle of the plate or right in that nitro zone for a lot of hitters.
Well, Moustakas, like Salvador Perez, had really been struggling going into last night's game. And then he broke out with a double and a home run. Now here tonight, it's Perez, and then Moustakas hits another one out. So the Royals get a couple of their slumping hitters going in this series. And here tonight, Perez and Moustakas go back-to-back, 2-0 Kansas City. We go to the bottom of the second inning. The Indians will send 6, 7, and 8 up to the plate against Jason Vargas. Michael Brantley leading off for Cleveland as the Indians try to climb out of an early hole. Michael Brantley with 18 driven in on the year, 4th in the American League, and runs batted in. Hit on the ground to first. So in all 3 games in this series, Brantley's first at bat, he's hit a ground ball to Eric Hosmer for an out.
I knew you were going to say that.
Injury report tonight, brought to you by Elk and Elk. And the Royals have a number of players and key players. Tim Collins, their reliable left-hander out of the bullpen. Luke Hochevar, who became a real stalwart out of the bullpen last year after years as a starter. And Lorenzo Cain, who was one of the key parts in the Zach Greinke trade from Milwaukee. He's battled injuries, it seemed like, ever since he came over to Kansas City. As Drupal Cabrera, 1 out of 8 in the series. And Cabrera taking a strike.
I'm sorry, I should have told you, man. They had thumbs up at the L.
In there for a strike, 1 and 2 now. Cabrera looks back at Adam Hamari. He'll have to dig out of a 1-2 hole now against Vargas. Cabrera has had his struggles offensively here at the start of the year, but he's handled the bat well against left-handed pitching thus far. He's batting .300 against the Southpaws.
Yeah, he has. He's swung the bat pretty well from this side.
Fouled over into the on-deck circle. And Cabby with a 5 for 10 mark in his career against Vargas, the 2 former Mariners.
Yeah, but they haven't faced him since 2012, Vargas, so we'll see.
And the payoff pitch is fouled away.
There you see a changeup at any time. Full count, he's not going to give in. He's not throwing very hard, about 85 today. But he'll throw that changeup at any time and put a little wrinkle on it as well.
Cabrera yanks it into left field, a base hit. So he continues his success from the right-handed batter's box. And the Indians have a 1-out base runner here in the second.
There's an off-speed changeup right there. It had maybe it was down. Maybe too much of the plate, but Cabrera took advantage of it. We'll get the second hit for the Indians.
It's going to bring up Yan Gomes. He is 3 for 7 in the series with a couple of doubles. And that's out of play to the right. You always talk every year about scoring first, and a lot of times it's any sport. Probably not basketball. That's probably the one sport where scoring first doesn't mean much. But certainly football, baseball, hockey, I mean, those are important stats when you get on the board first. So far this year for the Indians, they've scored first 11 times out of their 20 games, and they're 7-4. But in the 9 games when they haven't scored first, they've lost 7 out of the 9.
Okay.
And you're not always going to score first. So I think part of the problem, though, for the Indians is not – you might look at that on the surface and face value and say, well, the offense isn't getting enough hits. They're not scoring enough runs to come from behind. That may be true in some instances, but it also speaks to you have to hold the other guy down. And there have been a number of games this year where, 2 runs in an inning and then 3 runs in an inning and then 2 runs in an inning, or not just being able to completely shut another team down.
And another thing, what happens when you fall behind early is when you do play catch-up and you finally get caught up, they've been having problems holding them down, a shutdown inning. They've been given the lead right back, and that's something you can't do. So it's been going hand in hand. Even if they fall behind and they work their way back in, they give it right back up.
Gomes takes, it's low, 2-2.
That's why it's tougher to play from behind, because you got to play perfect baseball or solid the rest of the way through. When you get the lead, if they catch up, you can still get your momentum going.
And while that's a short-term problem right now because it's early in the year, the 2-2 lined into center field, a base hit by Gomes. Cabrera stops at second, back-to-back singles here in inning number 2 for Cleveland. Gomes, like Cabrera, went down. Maybe at the knees or just below.
I'm going to tell you, Juan Gomes has got to be crazy if he ever swings at anything from around the belt. I'm telling you, he hits the ball between his mid-thigh and his knee as well as any hitter going. I mean, he kills a low pitch. So why even waste your time at a high pitch? Just zero in on something down in the zone or out of the zone for him.
Up comes Mike Avila, 7 out of 18 against lefty pitching so far this year. That's a .389 average. And he takes outside ball 1. But just to finish the point, the problems they've had coming from behind, coupled with maybe not being able to hold the opposition when you do catch up, you can overcome that early, but if that continues to be a problem, at some point it becomes deflating.
Yeah, it can, very much so.
And, maybe the confidence at some point starts to become, we can't hold them. And if it becomes mental, then it snowballs out of control.
It's like anything in this game. Once it gets into your head, it takes a while to clear it out.
Yeah.
You got to defrag, man. You got to get it out of there. But, I mean, it's a long year, and you're starting. But you're getting to that 20-game mark, or you're at the 20-game mark. You got to go. You can't be making the same mistakes night after night.
2 on, 1 out. Mike Aviles with a 1-1 count. Takes low. Well, Jason Kipnis, he told me back in spring training, he's like, you guys like to talk about, well, they're 0 for this with runners in scoring position. Well, then you get hot. And he said, you can't get too focused on any one thing during the course of a season.
That's good. Yes, it's comes in cycles. Everything runs in cycles.
Slowly chopped to short. And Escobar's only play is at second base. They get the second out of the inning there. Gomes is erased. Cabrera goes to third. With more on the Indians' problems of late and trying to hold the opposition, we talk about those shutdown innings. Katie Witham has more on that from down on the field.
Matt, I asked Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, why are shutdown innings so elusive right now to his starters, and he said the only thing that he can really think of is at the beginning of this season, the starters really struggled not only throwing strikes, but they also were walking a lot of guys, which led to them start to press, and a bigger emphasis was put on getting those shutdown innings. Now, he also went on to say the biggest thing for them, they need to go out and focus only on pitching for each out, which we haven't really seen them do a whole lot of.
Well, I mean, anytime you put the cart before the horse, you're asking for trouble. That's why the mantra has always been, focus on each pitch.
Right. Pitch by pitch.
Bourne tries to drive one to right center field. It's in the gap. It's going to get down and go to the wall.
Scoring is Cabrera. Aviles around third. He's coming home. Escobar's throw not in time. Michael Bourne with a 2-out, 2-run triple, and the Indians come back to tie the game.
Big hit by Bourne.
His first extra base hit of the year, Rick.
And second straight game, he's been 2 for 2. This one plugs the gap in right center field with 2 outs. It's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. Big 2-out base hit. The left-hander on left-hander picked on a breaking ball down in the zone, and it finds the gap, and that enables Aviles and Cabrera to come in and score. Here comes Aviles. He scores easily. Bourne goes into third base.
And so, Jason Vargas has given up his first runs of the year that didn't come off of a home run. And Swisher looks at the ball outside. Nick drew a walk his first time up. He hits one towards short. Escobar waits back on it and throws him out to end the inning. But Michael Bourne delivers in the clutch for the Tribe, and the Indians answer right back to tie the game at 2. Two-two our score, third inning. Indians come right back to tie it up. And now we'll see if Justin Masterson can go out and shut down Kansas City and get the Tribe bats right back in the dugout. Top of the order for KC, Nori Aoki, who grounded out his first time up.
See, that's the thing you try to do as an offense. When they go out and score, you come back and jump right back on them like the Indians did and take that momentum back. Now it's up to Justin Masterson to keep it that way.
In there for a strike. Fouled away, and no balls, 2 strikes to count on Aoki. Strike 3 called, and Aoki doesn't like the call. Third strikeout for Masterson, 1 down here in the third.
Go downstairs once again, check in with Katie.
Well, the one thing Justin Masterson feels like he's figured out is his slider. Specifically, when thrown slower, he can get a better movement on it. Now, his slider used to live right around 88 miles per hour, but it had a tendency to be flat. He's learned if he can throw it between 82 and 84, he can put better spin on it, which results in bigger movement.
I think it's a great idea, but you know what? You can use both of them, the 88 mile an hour and the 82 to 84. Use them both. That's a variation off your slider. He can do that with his two-seamer and also use his four-seamer, and it's like 5 different pitches.
And Infante jumped away. And it's ball 3. A strike call. 3 balls and a strike. And Masterson issues the walk, his first of the game.
Well, a pitch that made him last year was the slider, and it was very effective against left-handed hitters. But, you know, the right-handers he overmatches. Again, when the right-handers get a hit, it's a rarity. But he's got to be able to control the left-handers. And this year, you know, they're hitting at 300, 304, gets them coming into today's game. Righties, 100 points difference. So he's always been able to handle the righties. But that slider makes a big impact on the left-handed hitters.
Oh, and 2, quickly the count.
Here's the slow slider that they were talking about right there in the outside corner at the knees. Good backdoor breaking ball.
Went away with a heater, and Hosmer spoils it to stay alive. Well, Justin doing a good job of getting ahead. Unfortunately, one of those first pitch strikes wound up in the Kansas City bullpen. Right back to him.
Nice.
To Cabrera, to Swisher, an inning-ending double play. Well, Masterson helps his own cause, starts the inning-ending twin killer, and we'll go to the bottom of the third, tied at 2.
Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Indians go back to work here in the bottom of the third with the 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. Jason Kipnis will start for the Indians. He struck out his first time up. Bounds at foul by first base coach Sandy Alomar. And a count quickly 0-2. Kipnis flies one to left. Gordon moving over a few steps to make the catch, and there's one out.
Follow every Indians game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, audio, scores, the free MLB TV game of the day, and more. Download the App Store or visit Indians.com.
Carlos Santana walked in the first inning. Foul right back. Vargas missed inside. And it evens the count of 1-1. Down in the dirt.
He's terrible, Murph. Yeah. How about Washington coming back and getting a bull? Yeah, I did. I watched it. Yeah, they do. I know it. You're right.
Bullseye in there. 2-2. Santana with one out here in the third inning. Then Ryan Rayburn hit to center field. And Gerard Dyson grabs it for out number 2. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, you can check out Game Day Live. Johnny Manziel arrives in Cleveland to chat with the Browns. And speaking of chat, it's Sam Amico's weekly web conversation, all on FoxSportsOhio.com. First ball swinging, Ryan Rayburn drives one to center field, but Dyson is there, and the Indians go 1-2-3 on 9 pitches here in the third.
to inning number 4. For Kansas City, it's Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, and Salvador Perez. And Butler looks at a breaking ball in there for a strike. Wow, he really choked off that slider down to 77 miles an hour. Right back to the mound. Masterson jumps on it. And one away. Time now for a Mazda game break. Back to the studios and Al Pulaski.
Matt and Rick, the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field, celebrating the 100 years at Wrigley today. They had the throwback jerseys. Cubs up in the 9th inning, 5-2, and Arizona scores 5 in the 9th to come back and win it. Aaron Hill's triple there, the backbreaker. 7-5, Diamondbacks spoil the Cubs' birthday.
They're not very good party guests, are they, those Diamondbacks?
They are not. 5 in the 9th, that'll spoil any party.
You invite them over for a birthday party, and they tear up the furniture and wreck the joint.
Wait till the parents come home.
They ate all the birthday cake and left. Alex Gordon, he hit one back to the mound. So already 3 comebackers for Masterson. 1 in each of the last 3 innings.
Well, I've never seen him throw his breaking ball so slow. That last one, like you said, 77 miles an hour. He's starting one off, then he's going to 89. Haven't seen many pitches above 90 tonight.
Nothing wrong with that if you can consistently get that kind of separation.
Right, and he's had 6-0-2 or 1-2 count, so he's been ahead of the hitters. He's been very good throwing first pitch strikes. And it's just, pitching is keeping hitters off balance, keeping the barrel of the bat off the ball. However you do it, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you can.
Boy, that one stayed fair over the bag. Swisher gobbles it up. 2 down. Time now for our Hear Right Audiology Sounds of the Game. Elliot Johnson on his memories of Wrigley Field.
It's quite a treat, because there's so much activity going on outside the game before the gates open. You can go stand out on Waveland Avenue, Sheffield Avenue, try and chase home run balls if the wind's blowing out that day. I remember going there when I was in '98. We went and watched the Cardinals, because McGuire's coming into town to watch him and Sosa go back and forth. And you knew when Sammy and Glen Allen Hill were up because they were going across the street, way back.
Elliot Johnson, whose father was an avid Cubs fan.
Well, most people that live in that Chicago area are Cubs fans compared to the 2. The White Sox, the South Side, they like the North Side a little bit better. And sometimes it's hard to figure out why.
I'll tell you what was, my first memory going to Wrigley Field, bizarre, is that my dad and I went to a game, drove into the neighborhood. There's no parking lots.
Right.
We parked in some guy's yard, and we gave him $15 and the keys to the car. I said, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be here when you get back." And I looked at my dad and said, "What do you think?" He's like, "I don't know. We don't really have any choice at this point. There's nowhere else to park." That ballpark is such a unique entity in that it literally sits in a neighborhood.
Yes, it does.
A little bit like Fenway for that matter.
Well, yeah, it's built up, over there. Oh, nice slider.
Boy, Masterson has some wicked stuff here tonight. He has fanned 4 Royals, and he sets them down 1-2-3 for the first time tonight. Against the Royals tomorrow with a noon game here at Progressive Field. Indians Live leads off the lunchtime special at 11:30, and we'll bring every pitch starting at high noon right here on Sports Time Ohio. Move on now to the bottom of the fourth, tied up 2-2. For Cleveland, Michael Brantley as Asdrubal Cabrera and Yan Gomes due up. Brantley, the weird symmetry to this game sometimes. I mentioned before in the first 3 games of the series, he is grounded out to the first baseman all 3 times. And then he's gotten hot, hit a 2-run homer in the series opener after that first at-bat. And then last night, he singled in his last 2 at-bats, stole a base, and scored a run for the Tribe.
So we're due for a double or a triple.
Yeah,
here.
Look out. Gets that first one out of the way. And you mentioned, too, as a left-handed hitter, left-handed pitching doesn't seem to bother. It's certainly not kryptonite like it is for some left-handed hitters.
He handles them just as well. Last year he hit better against lefties and righties.
Well, he came into tonight 296 on the year against the lefties, 292 against the righties.
It doesn't faze him. And Kipnis is that way, too. Jason will get rolling. These guys, they're not fazed by the seeing it. And the more you face, the better you get. So, I mean, these guys are everyday players. And you know eventually they're going to get hot.
It goes back to that, I don't know if this is a good example, but it's the old chicken or the egg. How do you get better as a left-handed hitter? Do you get better by facing them a lot?
Absolutely.
But if you make a lot of outs, you don't get the opportunity to keep facing them.
Well, if you're an everyday player, and I'll tell you, everyday players are tough to come by in this league, you're going to get your chance. You're going to face everybody, so you'll get your opportunities.
1 down as Brantley grounds out to second base, and up comes Asdrubal Cabrera.
Yeah, that's amazing how they make the hats nowadays, huh? With the ear things built right in. It's amazing.
I think back to that 97 World Series. That was the first time that I remember watching a baseball game and seeing guys with, like, literally with ski masks on underneath their baseball caps.
Yeah, it's.
Remember the Marlins players, Edgar Renteria? They had. They were.
I'm jealous because back in the day when we played, you go on out there. You don't need anything. It doesn't matter. It'd be nice to have your ears warm.
You just need some earmuffs over your cap.
No kidding.
That would have been a good look.
We didn't even have flaps on our helmets. What do you mean?
Yeah,
flaps for your hats.
Yeah. Hit him on the toe.
Oh, he said, wait, did that ball deflect?
Home plate umpire Adam Hamari saying it didn't hit him.
Well, he's going to talk to some umpires, and it looked like it did. I mean, Cabrera never moved. And now Terry's going to ask his player. He's going to let the umps convene. And he's talking to Perez, too. It looked like it went the other way.
The umpires.
It hit his toe. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, one of the umpires saw it, and then Bill Miller, the crew chief, intervened and said, take your base.
What, did it hit a spring down there in the dirt? I mean, seriously, that thing bounced about 5 feet to the left.
I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the home plate umpire, but Adam Hamari might have been blocked out. If you looked at that replay, as soon as the ball hit the dirt, Salvador Perez stood up, and it might have just blocked his view.
I was watching the ball. I didn't see that.
He maybe just didn't see it. I don't know.
Okay, well, they got it right. No problem.
1 on, 1 out for Yan Gomes, who looks at a ball up high. Take another quick look and watch Perez.
All right, now I'll watch the.
As soon as the ball hits the dirt, he's standing up.
Okay, that's a good call. I didn't see that. I was looking at the ball. Okay, he didn't see it.
Out of play, off the bat of Gomes, 1-on-1 to count. Giannis single to center his first time up on a pitch that was down in the strike zone, and as you said at the time, he should never swing at a ball that's above the thigh. the way
he can hit a low pitch. He's really good at getting the barrel head of that bat to the baseball and then the hitting area down. I mean, you'll see him take some good swings at pitches at the belt, and he'll foul them off. But watch this. There's a ball down, and then he golfs on Monday. Tonight, that one was a semi-down from him.
Yeah.
I've seen him hit them lower than that this year. But when you see him just go down and hit it, it's such a pretty swing. And you don't see a lot of right-handers hitting it like that. It's usually left-handers. That's why I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when he gets in a groove and when he gets some at-bats under his belt, you'll see him probably swinging a lot of pitches in the dirt because he's going after a lot of low pitches, I would think.
Is there anything mechanically in a swing that enables someone to have more success at pitches down in the zone like that?
I'm looking where his hands start.
He goes down and punches that one to right field, but it hangs up for Aoki, and that's out number 2.
That's the last pitch there. That ball's down and away, and you can see he shoots it at least to right field to put it in play.
So with 2 down, up comes Mike Aviles. Bounced into a fielder's choice his first time up. I almost wonder if it just has more to do with how you see the ball. You always told me you were a high ball hitter, granted as a left-handed hitter, but you didn't necessarily like the ball low like a lot of left-handed hitters do.
No, I didn't. How these guys, and today they throw these sinkers and changeups that are down. I'd be in trouble. But when they throw them that low, you got to just have a knack to get down there and hit it. And some guys get the barrel of the bat, and they can hit it in the air.
Runner goes. Good jump. Perez dropped the ball in the transfer. So Cabrera, with his first steal of the year, is in scoring position with 2 down now for Aviles, who's sitting pretty with a 2-0 count.
Well, and that's what happens sometimes when you get a good jump and you are a catcher. You try and really rush it a little bit to get that throw out of there, and he messed up the transfer. It wasn't the easiest of pitches to go to, but you can see as it comes out, he never really had a grip on it, so Cabrera will get his first stolen base. The Indians have been very good. That's their 16th this year, and they've been caught 3 times. I would assume Bourne's was a caught stealing back in the first.
I don't know. Did they give him a caught stealing? Because he wasn't going. Well, okay, that's what they gave. They called that a caught stealing. I would, I guess there's different ways to look at it, but in that situation with Bourne, if he's going on the pitch, then I can see. But he went on the bunt attempt that went awry.
It could be considered a delayed steal or something like that.
True.
Even though it wasn't, he was just tricked on the bunting through the baseball. But I guess you're caught stealing because you were trying to go to third.
Aviles pops it in the air. And Hosmer makes the catch. 4 in the books. It's the Indians 2 and the Royals 2.
Honda. Sunny will save you money. By Levin Furniture. And by Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more.
Two as we roll on now to inning number 5. Once again, the blankets are out, heavy jackets, ski hats, you name it.
Rightfully so.
Earmuffs. Mike Moustakas homered his first time up. It was part of back-to-back solo shots in the second for Kansas City. Masterson delivers down low, ball 1. Caught the corner. And it's 1-1. Good one. I tell you what, he keeps taking it off. That 77, 78.
Never seen him throw this many slow pitches in a game in my life. This is something he had to work on in the side session. Never seen him throw a 77, 78 mile an hour slider.
Now, if you're a hitter and you've got the game plan, forget the game plan. You've faced this guy before.
Right.
And all of a sudden you see something that you haven't. What does that make you do as a hitter?
It puts that thought in your mind like, holy smokes, this guy, let's see if he's going to do that. Next thing you know, he can throw one past you at 89 and it's no big deal. Or at least get it in. He's had a lot of dribblers right out in front of the plate.
Yeah, you're right, he has. Outside with it, 2-2.
It's a lot different than we're used to seeing. But you can see how he's taking the hitters, the sting out of the bat. He's made, look at that, blows it right by him at 90.
5 strikeouts for Masterson.
Let's check some of the breaking balls out tonight from Justin, the slider. There it is, a nice little slow one. And you can see what the hitters are doing. They're not used to seeing it. Now they chase one out of the zone. That's after he hit the home run. Let's watch his front foot like we did. And we mentioned it in his last start where he's got to keep it closed. That keeps him behind the baseball and gives the movement to the pitch. Look at that.
Starts him off with that slider.
76. This is a first.
Well, you almost want to call it a curveball at 76. Not really a slider,
but it's a variation. You take speed off and it breaks more. So it's the same thing. He's throwing it. But, man, look how easy he's making it look.
Aviles throws out Escobar. 2 down here in the 5th. In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers if you missed it early. Salvador Perez in the second inning snapped an 0 for 22 slump with that first pitch homer. Next guy up, Mike Moustakas. 2-0 Kansas City. Bottom of the inning, 2 outs, 2 on. Michael Bourne triples to the gap to tie the ball game, and that is where we stand. Gerard Dyson showing bunt. Takes low, ball 1. Dyson a ground out his first time up. They said he got the bat back in time.
Well, a lot of times you check with him because he's so quick. You know, he gets it out there, and then he will pull it back late. He did it once last night. He ended up laying down a beautiful 2-out bunt last night down the first baseline.
And there for a strike. Bunts it. Masterson barehands it, but he pulled Swisher off the bag with the throw.
You know, he got there. He made a nice play. But watch him jump and try and throw it too hard. He had a little more time than he thought. Just knowing that Dyson can run puts pressure on you. But watch how he rushes it a little bit. He had a little more time. You see where he felt he had to throw it all of a sudden? He could have just taken just a little more time and got his footwork a little better. Look at he's upset. But that's what speed will do.
Nori Aoki, who is 0 for 2, will step in as Masterson lobs one over to first to make sure Dyson just doesn't take off. Slashes it. Just,
Heads up, Katie.
Yeah, over there where the cameras are huddled together. Dyson can burn him. He has got plenty of speed over there at first.
There you go. You just hold it. That's what you're waiting for. The hitter to call timeout. You're not going to do anything.
Aoki has 4 hits in 38 at-bats on the road now this year.
Yeah, the 4th hit coming last night.
Runner goes. Now he stops. Put the brakes on. Dyson took a couple of big bolts towards second. And then either didn't like the jump or just...
When you're a base stealer, if you're going to take off and you just don't feel comfortable in that jump, you stop. You don't have to run on that pitch. You'll wait to get a better jump. But he will run in this situation.
Slashed into left field, a base hit for Aoki. And back-to-back singles keep the inning going for Kansas City now. After Masterson had retired 6 Kansas City hitters in a row, they come up with back-to-back singles now.
Well, there's a fastball he happened to hit. You know, he's one of those guys, the slasher, the mad slasher. He seems like he's running out of the box when he's swinging.
Omar Infante walked his last time up.
I would. If he does, it's his fault. It's the pitcher's fault.
Man, Masterson again with that off-speed pitch in for strike 1.
That's the way I play. That's what I'm thinking about. Don't get the single. They can beat you over your head.
A little bit low, 1-1 to count. You know, think about Infante, especially in this series, Rick, the way he's peppered the ball to the right side of the infield. I know they've got 2 men on base, but it's interesting that there is a huge hole on the right side of the infield with Kipnis shading him up the middle now.
Yeah. Well, they're keeping Dyson close, even though with 2 outs. It looks like that's what they want to do, is try and bust him in and force him to try and pull the ball. Execution. You know, as a hitter, too, that's what you do after every pitch. You step out of the box, you'll look at the defense to try and get an idea how they're going to pitch you. I mean, you look at that defense, and he's got a pretty darn good idea what Justin's going to try and do to him.
But he pops it in the air. In comes Ryan Rayburn, and he makes the catch. Masterson works out of trouble here in the 5th. 2 men stranded for the Royals. We stay tied at 2.
Sugardale Dollar Dog Night will take place Friday, May 2nd. The Indians will take on the Chicago White Sox, and it'll be Dollar Dogs all night long. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
Michael Bourne, Nick Swisher, Jason Kipnis here in the home half of the fifth for Cleveland. And Vargas with a fastball strike.
Bourne getting his first triple, driving in the two Indian runs with 2 outs back in the second.
Fouled off by Bourne, and the count 0-2. Yeah, it sounded like it cracked, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
He's had a good night, though. Base hit his first time up. Line drive single.
That's the fastball. Then his second at-bat, he picks on the breaking ball. Drove it into the gap.
So good night so far for Michael Bourne as he tries to lead off the fifth inning with another hit. But he's down on the count 0-2, and he strikes out for the first time. Second strikeout for Vargas, as we remind you to tweet us your photos. Use the hashtag STOFanPhoto, and you'll have a chance to have it shown in an upcoming telecast. It's all courtesy of AT&T. Nick Swisher has walked and grounded out. Jason Vargas signed with Kansas City in the offseason as a free agent, signing a big 4-year contract. I wonder if Vargas visited with the Indians. You know, he makes his home in Goodyear. Goodyear, Arizona is where he lives.
Oh, yeah? Well, yeah, okay. Well, he was with Seattle, so they're out in Peoria.
Not
and
too
now
far.
Now that he's
in Kansas City,
in
he's right
Kansas
there.
City, he's in Surprise.
Yeah.
So that's, 20 minutes away?
Probably. Jason Vargas is the son of a high school baseball coach from Southern California. And he says, I've pretty much been around it my whole life. Originally, Minnesota took a flyer on Vargas when he was in high school, but it was one of those 43rd round selections, so he decided to go the college route.
Smart decision.
He went from 43rd round to second round.
How about that? That's a jump, an improvement.
Right back up the middle, and Vargas snares it. Throws him out, 2 away. Saturday, Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 is back with a doubleheader as Mike Trout and the Angels take on the Yankees. Then the Pirates square off with the Cardinals. All the action starts at 12:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Jason Kipnis takes a breaking ball for a strike. Kipnis has struck out flat out tonight.
Oh.
And he didn't mean to, but it stayed fair for a moment. Then it does drift foul.
It's amazing when you're a hitter what a little flinch of the bat does. It's like you think you never move it. And, he's just trying to get out of the way. Watch. Next thing you know, it hits your bat. I mean, it's amazing. Just the little movement.
And Kipnis lines it into left field for a base hit. He went up the ladder and got a pitch that time and deposits it into left for his first hit of the night.
That's the reason why Jason and Michael Brantley, they can hit left-handers, because they do this. You know what? I'll take my base hit the other way. I'm not going to try and drive that ball or turn on it. You pop it up. He stayed on it, hit a nice little soft line drive to left field, take your base hit. Job well done. 2-out single by Kipnis.
And it keeps the inning alive for Carlos Santana, who you have to hope, like Salvador Perez of the Royals, he'll break out of this slump and hit one out of the ballpark. He has 1 home run on the year. In the air to left, over near the line, Gordon's going to make the catch, and the inning is over. 5 in the books. We still are tied at 2. Two as we roll into the 6th inning. Before we do that, time for a Mazda game break. Al has some interesting story to tell us right now.
Matt, interesting indeed. The Yankees and the Red Sox tonight at Fenway. Look at Michael Pineda's right side of his neck there. There's something on it. It's not a Band-Aid. John Farrell comes out, talks with home plate umpire Jerry Davis. He goes out to have a look at Michael Pineda's neck. He feels something. It's a foreign substance. He's tossed. It looked an awful lot like pine tar. He's gone. Red Sox up 4-0, Matt.
You know, he got caught with that on his hand.
Well, he didn't get caught.
Oh, no, but
it was
they
noticed.
Saw it after he left.
Yeah.
Well, you can notice that, too, in the shot on his neck. And what is he kidding me? With cameras now the way they are, that's how he got caught to begin with.
All right. Now, the question I want to ask you is, in your era, and we haven't seen it much lately, but, you know, guys would load up the baseball with, let's say, Vaseline or another substance to try to get movement, to try to make it do something. What does pine tar do for a pitcher?
I would imagine it gives them a feel or a grip where they could throw their breaking ball much better in weather like this. I would certainly think so. If not that, moisture. You've got to have something on the baseball.
Eric Hosmer with the second hit of the ball game. He leads off the 6th with a single to center field. So he's not using it necessarily to make the ball move.
I don't know.
More,
Maybe
more
he
for
is.
grip, huh?
I don't know. I would think so. You know, if you have guys used to cut the baseball with thumbtacks and things like that they'd have in their glove, or use Vaseline or something. But you know what? Hit the dry side. Who cares? I mean,
or the emery board.
Yeah, the emery board with Negro.
Phil Negro, right.
You don't get caught up into it. But, I mean, that's gamesmanship there, just trying to.
Cabrera goes to second. They don't get the out.
No.
Kipnis couldn't hold it. The throw is a little low. And instead of getting at least one, they get none, and there are 2 on with nobody out.
Another error. The Indians now with 21. This is a routine play where you just have to get an out. Let's see. There's Cabrera going there that handcuffed him. What happened? It handcuffed him. He was waiting for the throw up here, and it got down so low that he had to come back around and hit off the end of his glove. So that'll go as an error, and I want to see who they give it to.
It's on Kipnis,
okay.
yeah.
Error on Jason Kipnis, and now they have a start to an inning.
And Alex Gordon, dangerous at the plate. 0 for 2 tonight, but very good with runners in scoring position. Alex Gordon tied for 5th in the league with a .429 batting average with runners in scoring position. Hit hard to first. Swisher goes to second. There's one. And it looked like Cabrera maybe had trouble getting it out of his glove.
I'll tell you what, Masterson hustled to get over there. He was in position to get that double play. And you're right. I think maybe Cabrera on the transfer didn't get it out of the glove.
And now you've got to be certain if you're a fielder, based on the way the rules are now, if Cabrera drops that ball coming out of his glove, then everybody's safe.
Yeah, that's true, too. There it is.
Yep, that's what it was.
And I'll tell you what, he wasn't on the base with that kid, but he did secure it. And watch, Justin hustled to get over there. He was there for the out, and that's a double play unturned. So another, it's an unforced error there. So it will not be given an error, but it's a double play, should have been turned.
Now Salvador Perez with one out, swung on and missed. He was trying to park one, and Masterson crossed him up. Justin struck him out his last time up after Perez homered to center field in his first at-bat. Now, the way Masterson's pitching, he's got a chance, still has a chance to get out of this with a double play ball because they've been beating it into the ground all night.
Well, he's got 2 ways to go. You go for a punch out now or look for that good double play ball. He's got a couple pitches to work with.
10 ground ball outs on the night for Masterson. In the air, over near the line, Rayburn, a long run. Can't get to it. It dropped just in front of the seats down there.
What's it like sliding on that track?
Count remains 0-2 on Salvador Perez. There's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out.
Back off. That's what he did. And he backed off and got the swing and a miss on a nice slider for strikeout number 6.
Struck him out with a similar pitch last time up.
Yeah, but there's a good sinker right there. He gets him to swing over the top, then a nice slow slider. He's up top, 0-2. Tried to paint the outside corner with a good heater. He fouled it off, and then he goes right back out, something slower, and gets the strikeout. Great sequence by Masterson.
And so with 2 down, a chance to get out of the inning as Mike Moustakas comes to the plate. But it was Moustakas last night in a similar situation. With 2 outs and 2 men on base, he clobbered a 3-run homer.
Yeah, that came in the 4th inning. And that turned the game around, no question about it.
Down and in, he missed 2-0.
Well, he's trying to crowd him.
At the knees, a strike. And a count 2-1. When the Royals made Mike Moustakas the 2nd overall pick back in 2007, they picked him ahead of Jason Hayward, Matt Wieters, Madison Bumgarner, Giancarlo Stanton, and Jordan Zimmerman. And he just roped one down the right field line, and he's going to break the hearts of the Indians again with a big 2-out RBI hit. Puts Kansas City back in front, 3-2. Now he is starting to pick it up offensively. Came in here really struggling at the plate. But now 4 hits in his last 2 games.
Well, that one stayed right there. It was inside, middle, and in on the inner third of that plate. And it was a pretty good pitch for him to hit, and he gets the single. So a big 2-out base hit for Hosmer. He keeps the inning going. You give Escobar an opportunity. 2-out hits. The Indians scored with theirs with 2 outs. They come back, and now Kansas City will take a lead on a 2-out single by Moustakas, who is starting to heat up. You're right.
Now Alcides Escobar 0 for 2 on the night. Missed inside, ball 1. Smashed up the middle, but there's Cabrera at short. Flips it to Kipnis to end the inning. So the error is definitely costly here in the 6th as the Royals take a 3-2 lead.
Please vote yes on Issue 7 and help keep Cleveland strong. Issue 7 means jobs and is not a tax increase. Voting yes on Issue 7 helps protect our sports facilities and critical services. Get your vote by mail form at keepclevelandstrong.org.
Bottom of the 6th, Indians now down a run. Ryan Rayburn to lead it off. He's 0 for 2 on the night. And a strike called. Popped him up. Into foul ground goes Hosmer. 1 away. Catch every strikeout, every game ender, and every history-making moment on Major League Baseball Whip Around. Weeknights at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Fouled over toward the first base dugout. Missed inside with it. Missed outside with it. 2 balls and a strike. After the Indians wrap up this series, the Tribe will head to the West Coast. Weekend series against San Francisco, and then a trip to Anaheim to take on the Angels as Brantley lines a single into right field. So Michael's got his first hit of the night, and he's aboard with one out here in the 6th.
Pull the hands in, Michael, and he drives it to right field. He tries to go inside with a fastball, and that's just a nice swing from Brantley. Gets his first hit. For the Indians, that's hit number 6. They have the triple by Michael Bourne, and the rest are singles. So they will try and answer the run that Kansas City put on the board. They were successful back in the 2nd. Kansas City scored 2 on back-to-back home runs, and they come right back with a 2-out triple and answered.
Well, Asdrubal Cabrera's had a good night so far. He singled and scored in the 2nd. He was hit by a pitch, stole a base in the 4th. Now up here in the 6th, and again, he's continued to swing the bat well against left-handed pitching this year. So from the right side of the plate, he's been getting it done. Up high, Perez a snap throw down to first, but Brantley able to get back ahead of the tag of Hosmer. High fly ball, left center field. Dyson back onto the track and pulls it down 2 away. Well, as we promised earlier, check out our fan photo of the game, courtesy of AT&T. And remember, you can tweet your photos to us using the hashtag STOFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during the ball game. With 2 down and a runner at first, Yan Gomes will be up for the Tribe now. He's 1 out of 2 on the night. Kansas City starter Jason Vargas grew up in Southern California. But out of high school, he started his college pitching career at LSU. But then bounced around. He went back to California, to Cypress College initially, and then Long Beach State. Which enabled him to go from a late-round project out of high school to a second-round pick of the Florida Marlins. And he got called up to the big leagues in a hurry. Vargas made it to the majors after just 28 minor league starts, which was a baker's dozen fewer than Josh Beckett, who rose through the ranks rather quickly.
Yes, he did.
During his time with the Marlins.
Well, the Marlins always seem to rush people along because they don't keep veterans there very long.
Yeah.
You got to be a young kid to play there.
With 2 down, a 1-1 pitch coming to Gomes. Vargas fires to first instead. Former Indians pitching coach Mark Wiley had Vargas when he was with the Marlins, and Vargas was just 22 years old at the time, and he said, quote, "He's very calm, very much under control. He thinks, he listens, makes adjustments. Essentially, very coachable," which is all you want if you're a coach at the major league level.
Well, and didn't you say his dad was a coach, and that's where it comes from,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He was always listening and been around it and grew up with it, so that's why it sunk in, I'm sure.
Runner goes. Perez with the throw down. Not in time. Ball goes into center field. Brantley will go to third. The ball gets away from Dyson. They're going to wave him around. And the Indians are going to tie the game on an error.
Be 2 errors.
I think it's going to be an error on Perez and an error on Dyson.
It'll be a double error, yes. Michael had a great jump to steal the base. Perez comes up to throw it. All right, he short hops it or goes into center field. Brantley will just get right back up, but Dyson made the mistake of not catching the ball. See that ball short hop got there right about the time Brantley's foot did, and that ball jumped over his glove, and Michael comes all the way around from first base, and they answer and respond with good hustle on Brantley's part. So 2 errors for Kansas City helps the Indians get a run. This is...
And you know, maybe you've been in that spot before. It's got to be a weird feeling as a base runner. You steal the base, you see the ball go into center. Now your back's to the play as you go to third, and you see the third base coach waving. You got to be thinking, what
the
happened?
Heck is going on? That's true.
Did the center fielder fall down, spike himself? Something you don't expect to see, but the Indians benefit from it, and we are tied at 3. Enjoy a cold one, or excuse me, wrong read. You get a look in at the ballpark from our Panini's overstuffed cam. Miller time's still coming up a little later in the game.
Cold one, don't worry.
Just looking into the ballpark is like opening up a cold one tonight.
Yeah, it sure is. One big cold one. You just ask those girls under the blanket.
Well, the Indians have come back to tie it up. 3-3 our score as we head out of the 7th. Gerard Dyson will lead it off. It was his error that allowed the Indians to tie the game.
Well, I guess you could say each team, they gave each other a run there in that inning, and now they're going to start over again with a tie game for the final 3 innings.
Masterson's had that ground ball working tonight. Dyson takes a strike. 1-1 to count.
Well, he has 2 bunt base hits in this series. He has one where Justin tried to rush in his last at-bat and get him with 2 outs. But he was successful. The throw pulled Swisher off first, and he had a beautiful 2-out bunt last night. Uh-oh, forget it.
Kipnis will grab it. He'll try to throw, but Dyson was already by the bag.
Nice try. But that's how you do it. You hit down on the baseball, you run, you bunt. That's his game. His job is to get on base and put pressure on the defense. And look at that head. It's down. It's running. Kipnis did a beautiful job to even make it relatively close.
Nori Aoki is 1 for 3 on the night. He singled his last time up. Good pitch. Called a strike. Aoki just punched a single through the left side of the infield his last time up. Dyson, obviously, great speed at first base. Bounce to third. Aviles to second. There's one. Kipnis can't turn the double play. It was close, but Aoki just did beat it out.
Good try. Yeah. I mean, Aviles, you have to really make sure you give the good feed because he's on the run, he's on the move. Just give him a good feed, which he did. Kipnis hung in there, and he does beat it out. Gets the foot on the base, just not hit hard enough.
Yeah, if that's a one-hop seed at Aviles, they probably turn the double play, but it had just enough of a hump in it.
And as we said, Aoki's on the run anyway when he's leaving the box, and he's from the left side, so he gets down there a little quicker. Francona looked like he wanted to come out of the dugout, but, I think that replay, Greg down there says, no, don't waste your time. His foot was on the base, so good call.
Now, Aoki has 3 stolen bases on the year. Omar Infante flied to right his last time up. And Masterson has been working the corners very well tonight.
He's been a different guy for me tonight. I mean, we mentioned it. If you watch this game or you're just tuning in, he has been showing a diet of some slow breaking balls we haven't seen yet this year. At least I haven't. Normally his breaking ball was at 86 to 88 miles an hour. His hard slider and everything was pretty much hard. We were always wondering why he doesn't throw a changeup. Well, today he's answered everybody. He's throwing 76, 77 mile an hour breaking balls and controlling them and having good command with them. Got to find out. We got to have Katie ask if he was doing that in the side session. But I'll tell you what, it's not an easy thing to do. That's a pretty good pitch.
They said he didn't go. Greg Gibson down at first saying that he checked his swing. It was close. Just a little bit low.
Yeah, with that camera angle, it might have been a little outside as well. But it was still a pretty good pitch. He's looking for that ground ball double play because you don't want to face the guy on deck if you don't have to.
Not the way he's been swinging it in this series.
I know it, so why not go ahead and get that double play ball if you can. They've turned one tonight.
Again, Infante checks, but he did not go around. It's 3-1.
Well, I'm just curious if Masterson doesn't get this guy, does Zipchinski come in to face Hosmer?
We may find out. The 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss and a full count.
Yeah, he took a chance there and tried to turn on the ball.
But see, there again, to your point, with that 77, 78 mile an hour off speed pitch, now that 88 has just a little bit more life.
Well, you know what? Because those hitters see that stuff and they have to wait back thinking that they're going to get it. Next thing you know, that 88, that's why I say velocity sometimes is overrated. It's the location of what you can do with your off-speed stuff.
Runner goes on a 3-2 pitch, and it is ball 4. So 2 on, 1 out. Eric Hosmer coming to the plate, and Terry Francona is going to go to his bullpen. Today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. Left-hander Mark Zipchinski will be coming on with 1 out here in the 7th inning in a 3-3 ball game.
ticket gets your kid $15 of loaded value for use on concessions or merchandise. Log on to Indians.com/kidsvalue today.
2 on, 1 out here in the 7th inning. Tie game, and Mark Zipchinski on now for the Indians. The move obviously twofold for Terry Francona. One, you want to go left on left in this situation with Hosmer, who's been swinging a bat very well. And secondly, Hosmer is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts against Zipchinski.
Yeah, there you go. This game is it's at a turning point. Then you're into the 7th inning. You need to shut it down right here. Justin Masterson, his second straight start of 6 1/3 innings. He couldn't get Infante. He had the opportunity, just couldn't retire him.
Zipchinski deals. And a belt-high strike. It's not as though Hosmer wilts against left-handed pitching. He's hit .278 so far on the year. But there are the numbers I just talked about in his career matchups with this particular left-hander. And he got him to go fish. 0-2.
Matter of making your pitches. He went up with a good high fastball on strike 1. Hosmer probably looking for the breaking ball, and then he comes back with the breaking ball, and he was a little too aggressive. He did swing.
The 0-2. Trying to get him to chase again. In the dirt, 2-2. So Yan Gomes out to talk with the left-hander. A big pitch in the at-bat coming right here. With 2 on and 1 out. And again, the game tied up right there, 3-3. Billy Butler waits on deck with Brian Shaw up in the bullpen. It could be one and done for Zipchinski. We'll see. He got a piece of that.
That's
Hosmer.
about all he could do with that pitch. Just to stay alive. And as a hitter, I mean, that's a ball, I think. I don't think it's a strike.
But he's in protect mode.
Yes, and you just want to just bounce that ball, and he was lucky to get a piece of it, but he lives for another swing.
Gomes decided to slide in. That's what they was calling that great inside breaking ball.
The 2-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. Hosmer strikes out, and there are 2 gone in the inning.
Really a good sequence there by Zipchinski. Starts him off with a fastball belt high, top of the zone, gets him to chase a breaking ball out. Now the fun begins. Breaking ball he doesn't chase. Breaking ball he doesn't chase. Breaking ball he does chase, but he gets a piece of it and he locks him up inside. It was a ball in off the plate, and he was too aggressive and got himself out. So that was a really good sequence by Zipchinski.
Job well done by the Tribe left-hander, and now Terry Francona will make the move once again. He wants Brian Shaw to face Butler when we come back. Well, they're bundled up here at Progressive Field. Right now, Brian Shaw is trying to bundle up this 7th inning. The Royals have 2 on with 2 out in a tie game. And he's charged with facing Billy Butler, who is 0 for 3 on the night, 2 for 11 in the series. But as long as he's got a bat in his hand, he's always dangerous. He has had a lot of big hits in his career for Kansas City. And he takes low and away ball 1. That slider drops in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Billy Butler is the first Royal to lead the team in RBIs in 4 straight seasons. He did that from 2009 through the 2012 campaign. Close, but just missing 2-1. Butler, I mentioned, he didn't lead the team in RBIs last year, but batting average was very high, 7th best in the league, hit well in the clutch, and he was 5th in the league with a career best 79 walks. So maybe being a little more selective last year took away some of the RBIs, or it might have been a case where teams decided to pitch around him in different instances and make the guy behind him, whether it was Gordon or Hosmer.
Well,
or
Gordon was
Moustakas.
always leading off, so he wouldn't have been hitting behind Butler. But, Butler, that's the thing. Who was hitting behind him that could do the damage? This is the guy that really would hurt you.
Was Gordon still leading off last year?
Yeah, he sure was. At one time, they hit him 3rd when we played him early in the year, and they moved him back after, I think, 2 games, back to the leadoff spot. Now this year he's hitting 5th.
Now 2-2. Butler hits it high in the air. Right field, Rayburn's got plenty of room. He makes the catch, and the Indians bullpen up to the task here in the 7th. We stay tied at 3. Time for the 7th inning stretch. Brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Well, back here at Progressive Field, the Indians and the Royals still tied 3-3. And Kelvin Herrera coming on for Kansas City now. He's got a blazing fastball, but he also features some pretty paralyzing off-speed pitches to go with it.
Yes, he does. He's got a great changeup. That's about 88 miles an hour. He's got a good slider. Very good stuff.
He'll be facing Mike Aviles, and then the top of the order. Up high, ball one. You see it 96 miles an hour.
Pitched an inning in 2/3. First game of the series gave up a hit. In his career, though, the Indians have they've done very well off Herrera.
Up and in, almost hit him. That ball had some serious run. Fastball bullseye that time. 2-1. Perez wants another fastball here. And Aviles didn't mean to, but he ends up swinging at it and makes an easy out, one away. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, after Kansas City had jumped out to a 2-0 lead, the Indians came right back, and a big two-out, two-run triple by Michael Bourne to tie it up. That was back in the second inning.
Yeah, that made him 2 for 2, so 2 straight games he's gotten hits in his first 2 at-bats. But that was a big one. That gets him right back because Kansas City took the lead with back-to-back home runs, and they responded.
Pitch outside. Right back up the middle, and Bourne has his third hit of the night. So Michael Bourne, with that speed, is at first base now with 1 out.
Right back up the middle. Pretty good way to go with that fastball of his velocity.
So now with Nick Swisher coming up, he'll be batting left-handed for the first time tonight, and the Royals will go into that shift. They keep Escobar on the left side of the infield. The third baseman, Moustakas, moves over just to the right of second base. Swisher is 0 for 2 with a walk on the night. Down low for ball one. Lob toss over to first. Swisher takes its call to strike, and the count is 1-1. Throw to first, Bourne back safely. Swisher has 3 doubles in the series coming into tonight's game.
You know, with that shift they have out there on the infield, we're really moved over. His doubles have come to left center field.
Yeah.
With this guy throwing, I wonder if they're going to push him inside and make him again try to pull the ball. Because that whole left side of the infield is open.
And there's a pretty good gap in left center field where he's been hitting those doubles.
Exactly.
Herrera keeps chasing Bourne back, but Bourne really hasn't opened up a big lead over there yet. Cuts and misses.
They're forcing them. They're going in there with hard stuff. That was a 97-mile-an-hour heater, and they're going to say try and pull this.
One of the things that Royals pitching coach Dave Island says makes Herrera so effective is he changes the eye level with his fastball by moving it around.
He's at 97.
You don't have to do a whole lot when it's that hard, but,
No.
but when you throw one down at the knees and then the next one's up at the letters, you know.
But then you asked the question the other day, the first game when he came in, you know, why is it that the Indians have success? Because his changeup's so slow, and he's got good breaking stuff that, you know.
You would think he'd be unhittable.
At times, I'm sure he can be.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, when you look at it, there's 8 pitches today. He's made 10, and 8 of the 10 have been 95 or better. Now, we don't know. We're not in the batter's box. What kind of movement that pitch has on it? Is it straight? Does it have any movement to it?
Pitch is low, and the throw, they call him out at second. So Bourne, unsuccessful in his attempt of stealing second base, nabbed for the second time tonight. Terry Francona going to come out and offer an argument. It was close.
It was close, and it was a tough pitch to throw on, so you got to give credit to Perez, who gets rid of the ball. It's high. He got him on the arm before the foot came in, I think.
It appeared that way on the first look.
Yes, there it is. And now watch around his shoulder. Yep. Right on this, right there. And it looks like he tags him. Escobar tags him before that foot gets on the base. It's close, but... And it's amazing that ball stayed in the glove.
It sure is. Look at how that ball
yes.
was starting to leak out of the glove, but it stayed in there.
And he held it right there to show the umpire. So Bourne is thrown out. So he's been caught twice tonight.
Three-two pitch hit in the gap.
Go figure.
Almost took a hop over Aoki, but he's able to stay with it, and it will be a single for Swisher. Well, I told you with Swisher up there, they had 3 men shifted onto the right side of the infield, and we've seen more and more shifts with every passing game. With more on that, here's Katie.
Well, from an offensive standpoint, Matt, you definitely notice it when you step into the box or so. A couple Indians hitters told me earlier, they said it's extremely annoying when your hard hit single up the middle becomes an out, but you don't change your approach. If you alter your swing, you're going to have less success. The key is to always stay within yourself.
Well, an old saying Charlie Manuel used to say, know thyself. You know, the minute and I think those shifts sometimes can get into the head of an offensive player and make them try to do something differently.
Well, we saw it, I believe it was last night, with Carlos Santana.
Yeah, he bunted in the first inning with a runner on first base. He's in the number 4 spot.
And he bunted it back to the pitcher instead of bunting it up the third baseline like he wanted to. But again, if that's not your strong suit, they're taking you out of your game, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
Herrera fires it in the dirt. And a count 2-1 now for Kipnis. Fouled back. And we're even up at 2-2. That's driven to the gap in right center field. Swisher hits the bag at second. On his way to third. Aoki picks up the ball. Fires it to the cutoff man. Swisher to the plate. He scores, and the Indians take the lead. Jason Kipnis with a 2-out RBI double to the gap in right center field. And the Indians are up a run.
Boy, a big hit there by Jason Kipnis. And they're going to have to get him going, man. He's carrying the mail. You got to score. 2 outs.
Look at Herrera.
Gap. Yeah, he knew that ball was in the gap as soon as he let it down. Now, again, they made a play earlier in this series where they made 2 good throws and they got the runner at the plate. This is a little different. This is coming from right center field. The first throw was good. The second one was offline. Swisher able to score from first. Kipnis, his 5th double, and give him his 10th ribby, and the Indians another 2-out RBI.
Well, Jason Kipnis coming through in the clutch here tonight. Now Carlos Santana as the Indians try to add to the lead, looking for another 2-out hit. Swing and a miss. Santana tries to pull it. Hosmer's there. He'll flip it, and the inning is over. But the Indians come back, and now they've got the lead. 4-3 as we go to the 8th. Authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Well, 4-3-2-1 is back at Progressive Field this year, fans. You can take advantage of $4 12-ounce beers, $3 hot dogs, $2 pop refills every game at the ballpark, plus 13 Sugardale Dollar Dog Nights throughout the course of this year.
Well, Brian Shaw got the last out of the 7th inning. A lot of times you'll see Cody Allen come in the 8th, start with a clean inning. But Shaw, you may remember, also pitched last night in the ballgame.
I think he pitched the day before, didn't he?
He did not. But he pitched 2/3 of an inning last night. So he pitched a third so far here tonight. And a pitch in there for a strike. He might feel like, hey, you know what? He's up. He's hot. If we don't have to use Cody Allen, it might be.
Well, he only had 7 pitches. There you go. There you go. Sunday. What is today?
It's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. I don't know. It's one of those days during the week. That hits Shaw, and it goes over toward third base, and it's going to be an infield hit for Alex Gordon. And now Jeff Desjardins, Terry Francona, they're both going to come out and check on Shaw and make sure he's okay.
Let's see where it got him. Was it in the cleat, or did it catch an ankle or a leg or what?
Well, the Wendy's slow-mo replay will show us if we get the graphic out of the way.
Got some shoe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where because it was in our way.
Great graphics in the dang way. Yep, right on the instep.
Yes, indeed.
Side of the foot, but he convinced him he's okay.
It's a kick save.
Inside almost hit him. Popped up foul. Swisher over toward the seats. Can't get to it. Just needed about another step or two, and he might have had that play. Perez thankful he's got another chance.
Just wasn't hit high enough to get over there. Just out of reach.
Oh, Craig. Yeah, he would have dove for it.
The 1-1.
Where's he playing baseball? Lebanon? I think he's in Lebanon.
Salvador Perez homered in the second inning to straightaway center field on the first pitch he saw. Masterson struck him out his last 2 times up. Now facing Shaw, he fights it off and stays alive. White Sox lead the Tigers 6-4. They're in the 8th inning in the Motor City. Twins in front of Tampa 4-3. They're in the 6th down in St. Pete.
Is he really down in Mexico?
Now the 1-2. Swung out and missed on a breaking ball. Shaw strikes him out for the first out in the 8th inning.
There's that front door breaking ball. Stayed on the inside part of the plate, and he ends up swinging through it. He thought he had it lined up, but he does not. Out comes Terry Francona. That's going to do it for Shaw.
So Shaw goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up a hit. He'll be responsible for the runner aboard, as Cody Allen will be coming on when we come back. Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. It comes your way next right here on Sports Time Ohio. Al and Jason will have the highlights. Rick and I will stop by for some conversation as well. Katie will have interviews from the clubhouse. It's all coming up next. Cody Allen on for the 12th time this year, 2-0, 8 2/3. He has punched out 13 and walked 4. He's got 7 and 8 coming up. Mike Moustakas and then Alcides Escobar.
We'll see. I talked to Al, and then I said to
Moustakas has had a good night, and he's starting to heat up. He's 2 for 3. Solo homer in the second. And a 2-out RBI single in the 6th. 4 hits in the last 2 games. 2 home runs and a double included in that.
Well, you're going to have to talk to him. I can't talk to him.
Fouled right back.
This guy's swinging it okay. You get a lot of guys going.
Down on the dirt, 1-1. Gordon, the runner at first base. Held on there by Swisher. The Indians have that shift on. They've got 3 on the right side. Aviles is near the bag on the shortstop side of second. Good pitch. 95 miles an hour. And it's now 1-2.
Well, Cody went down and away with a good fastball. That's a tough one to handle. That was maybe a little bit off the plate.
Two and 2 the count. When his breaking ball is on, when he's throwing it for strikes, that's when he is lethal.
Lights out.
He looks like he's maybe searching for that breaking ball a little bit here in his first at bat.
Sometimes it takes a couple. He's coming in out of the stretch, and he didn't have time to throw. I mean, you throw him early, but he's had a devastating one this year.
Well, he just threw a fastball by him and said enough with the breaking ball. 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, come back with the old express and just threw it by him. See, he's got enough on it. He can get it by anybody. But that's why when you're saying when he throws that good curveball, it's like a spike curve. He's not going to give up any hits. He's going to dazzle.
Well, Alcides Escobar is 0 for 3 on the night. He steps in here with a runner at first. That's the tying run. No shift for Escobar. Actually, a fairly straight-up alignment as Gordon takes off and the ball is popped up. Shallow left. Long run, but how about Brantley? He knew that Cabrera was in covering the bag, and he made the long run in from left to secure the catch, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, drive up a run.
Score brought to you by Hyundai. Michael Bourne's having a good night at the top of the order, and he's having a good series. 6 hits in the series now for Bourne. Jason Kipnis with the clutch 2-out RBI double to put the Indians ahead. And here in the bottom of the 8th, it's going to be Rayburn, Brantley, and Cabrera due up for the Tribe against right-hander Wade Davis, who is the 3rd Kansas City pitcher of the night.
On for the 10th time. He was vying for a starting spot in this rotation back in spring training. And then and so was Luke Hochevar, who was out there in that bullpen last year, did a terrific job. When Hochevar went down, they said, you're going to the bullpen. No longer the starting spot. Because what happens, he goes back in there, and like Hochevar, you get 3 or 4 miles per hour, a little more on that fastball.
David Murphy pinch hitting here for Rayburn. Fastball strike on the outside edge. Wade Davis grew up in Lake Wales, Florida, which is just down the road from Winter Haven, where the Indians trained all those years in Central Florida.
Yes, indeed.
But as a youngster, he checked out the Rays at Tropicana Field, so it had to be a huge deal for him to be a 3rd-round pick of the Rays back in 2004 out of Lake Wales High. He made it to the big leagues in 2009. Davis was one of those guys who, Rick, you look at his numbers, he was a good starter. But with some of the great arms that they've had in Tampa, you wonder, was he either A, overshadowed, or B, maybe not as good as people thought he was?
I think B, because when they moved him to the bullpen, he had more success. And that's when they made a trade. When he came over to Kansas City said, well, try him, out of that starting rotation. Maybe, especially pitching in Kansas City, much better ballpark to pitch in. But he never took off. ERA always 5 or something like that. And, he just never had a lot of success. And we've seen it a number of times where guys like that go into a marginal starting pitcher, go into the bullpen, and they really pick up.
It happened for Luke Hochevar last year, but unfortunately he suffered the elbow injury this season, so he's done for the year. Difference there is that Hochevar was the #1 pick in the draft.
And he was going to be their #1 starter, or was that last year he was in the rotation. And that didn't cut it.
3-2 pitch to Murphy. Fouled back. The sign says it all, but the look on his face, I think, was the exclamation point.
It was frozen.
Just a bit outside, and then a leadoff walk for Murphy. Time for another Mazda game break. Back to the studios with Al.
Man, let's go to Detroit, where there was a game changer tonight against the Chicago White Sox. Tigers and White Sox here. Marcus Semien, a grand slam in the top of the 7th inning, changed a 4-2 game to make it 6-4 Chicago. They're now in the 9th in Detroit, man.
All right, thanks, Al. Here is Michael Brantley, 1 for 3 on the night. Brantley singled, stole a base, and then came around to score on a couple of errors in that 6th inning. That was key for the Indians because it enabled them to come right back and tie the game. We've talked an awful lot about the shutdown innings and how it's been a problem for the Indians this year. Tonight, it's been the Indians who have flipped the script. They have answered back
when Kansas City has scored in the ball game.
That's how you keep momentum on your side, especially when you can do it at home. You know, you get that offense right back in there, give them one more opportunity.
Breaking ball down low, and it's 1-1. Way up high, almost went to the backstop. And a count now 2-1 for Michael Brantley. As Dribble Cabrera waiting on deck, we'll be back with you tomorrow. High noon, Indians-Royals wrap up their 4-game series. Figures to be a little bit warmer by noon tomorrow than it is right now. Down low. Temperature game time tomorrow figures to be right around 50. Hopefully get to the upper 50s tomorrow afternoon. But here at game time tonight, it was 44 and sinking.
Well, there's no wind. That's what's a little different. Not that
helps.
It's not cold.
Yeah.
I don't mean it. But last night when the wind's blowing out there, it gets a lot colder. So if no wind's around, it's okay.
A little more manageable. 3-1 pitch to Brantley. Upstairs, ball 4. Wade Davis has walked the first 2 in the inning. Let's go back to that 6th inning, okay? It's a 3-2 Kansas City lead. Michael Brantley, with 1 out, gets a base hit. Then with 2 outs, he steals second. The throw goes into center field, and Dyson overruns it. And so Brantley just keeps on going, and the Indians tie the game.
You're right, though. You made a comment. What are you thinking when you're the base runner, when that coach is sending you around third, when you're thinking, okay, I'm here? No, you're not. You're going. For a brief second in your mind, you got to say, what the heck happened?
Yeah. Or is he okay? Is the third base coach?
Did you see his first look after he hit third? He looked out to center field to try and pick everything up to see what happened.
Now it's Dribble Cabrera with 2 on, nobody out. He squares. He takes a strike. Let's look at Brantley again.
Now what?
He did look back.
Yeah, he looked back, and now he looks again. Because he didn't know that he missed the ball.
Again, Cabrera squares, bunts it. Oh, well done. And
Nice.
everybody's safe.
Now,
it looked like Davis and Moustakas both looked at each other as if like, oh, I thought you were going to take it.
Communication breakdown is exactly what it was. And that's what you do. You force them to make a play. Look, they wanted to go for the lead runner at third base, and Moustakas was waiting. Look, Davis didn't do anything. He was looking for his third baseman. They put plays on, before the pitch is made, and then you should know. And normally the third baseman will tell the pitcher. Well, Davis on the mound didn't know anything. He didn't move. He stayed on the mound, even though Moustakas probably should have come in to take it. He realized it too late. Base hit, bases loaded. Great opportunity for the Indians.
Trying to maybe bust it open. Yan Gomes takes. It's a strike. Gomes 1 out of 3 on the night. He had a base hit back in the 2nd inning. Since then, he's flat out grounded out. Indians still lead the league, lead all of baseball for that matter, with 22 runs batted in bases loaded situations. They had one last night on the Michael Bourne base hit. Dave Island, the pitching coach, standing next to Ned Yost. You can't defend the walk, and
That's
the two
right.
walks opened up this can of worms for KC.
And then a little communication breakdown. At least it should be second and third with one out for him. Instead, it's bases loaded and nobody out, and they've got a lot of work to do.
Gomes takes it high, 2-1.
Yeah, and a tough way to pitch from behind in the count, and he has been that way all inning long.
Davis ready to deal the 2-1 pitch to Gomes. Swung on and missed. Well, he's got good life on that fastball, and that was at 94 miles an hour. So the bases are loaded with nobody out here in the home half of the eighth, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count for Gomes. The infield for the Royals is in. Gomes chased one. Looked like it was off the dish, and it's first out of the inning.
Well, it was a breaking ball of some kind because it had some run to it, either the slider or a cutter. Take a look. Slider down off the plate, and he helped him out.
Going to get a pinch hitter as Lonnie Chisenhall will bat for Mike Aviles. Royals only have one left-hander in their bullpen, and we saw him last night.
Danny Duffy.
Duffy went 2 innings, so you wonder he might not even be available.
Right,
Who knows?
for a 12 o'clock game tomorrow. But you got to remember the Royals short in that bullpen this year. Collins is on he's ready to come off the disabled. You got Hochshaver, who's out for the year. So there's which was once last year probably one of the best bullpens in the league, missing a few key pieces.
Yep. Flared toward left near the line. Fair ball. Murphy scores. Everybody moves up 90 feet. And a 5-3 Indians lead as Lonnie Chisenhall drops one in, perfectly placed down that left field line for his, believe it or not, his first RBI on the year. As well as he's been swinging it, batting well over 400. But that's RBI number 1 for Lonnie.
And he serves it out there. Look at that. That ball couldn't have been, he couldn't have ran out there and just tossed it right over the head of Moustakas, who's going out. He realized he wasn't going to catch up. Everybody moves up 90 feet. The Indians get a run in. They continue it. They keep it going. 11 hits now, and it is a 5-3 game.
Yeah, Lonnie just continues to get hits. He's had a terrific start to the season. For Lonnie, that's 16 hits and 37 at-bats. Michael Bourne takes it off the plate. Well, in the first game of this series, it was the Indians who won 4-3. They banged out 11 hits. Last night, Kansas City won 8-2. They had 13 hits. Tonight, the Indians have the lead, and again, they've banged out 11 hits in the ballgame. Michael Bourne has already driven in 2 tonight with 3 hits. And that was fouled right back. I think it got the foot or maybe the bottom of the shin protector of Salvador Perez. And the count 1-1 for Bourne.
He's looking down. He's eyeing down that third baseline. You keep an eye if you're Brantley down there. He looks like he was looking at Moustakas to maybe make a throw. With the left-handed hitter, but he's off the line with Brantley in the box. I mean, with Bourne in the box.
Yeah, when you're a catcher in this situation, you want that easy out, that cheap out if you can get one.
That's right. Anyone you can get, and any out you can take or get in this situation, you go after it.
Outside, 2-1.
Davis already 25 pitches.
Bourne awaits the 2-1. Well, it was either a perfect pitch or just a call that Michael didn't care for. Let's take a look.
Oh, that's off the plate. I'm with Michael on that one. Getting warmer. They're up on their feet. That's why they're not sitting down. You got some offense.
Get the blood flowing.
Yes, indeed.
The 2-2. Struck him out.
Well, when they call one on you out there, Matt, and he go right back, it's the same pitch. That one might have been even in a little closer. You got to go at it. You can't take it or you'll get rung up. At least he offered. He just comes up empty.
Well, it brings up Nick Swisher, and Swish had a big hit in that 7th inning. Big because Michael Bourne had been thrown out trying to steal. So 2 outs, it kind of airs out of the inning a little bit, but Swisher gets the base hit and then comes all the way around to score from first on the 2-out double by Jason Kipnis that gave the Indians the lead. Now Swisher can give the Indians some breathing room with a hit here. They're already up a pair. But as you like to say, he could poke a hole in this one with a big hit now.
Hitting 303 with 2 outs in the series. Another big 2-out hit.
One and one to count. Brantley, Cabrera, Chisenhall are the base runners.
Well, if Swisher could come up with another hit like he has earlier in this series, the left center field, he could clear the bases because there's a lot of room out there for him.
You're not kidding. Center fielder Dyson is shading him over toward right center.
And they're throwing him the fastballs away. Well, at least they did. They have been.
Now he's down to the count 1-2. Okay, so you took your shot. Now you'd like to see take that
play.
Yeah, take
Back
that pitch
off.
up the middle, opposite field, stay on it.
Yeah, you just don't take a bigger swing. You don't try and pull it. You just try and put a nice, short, quick stroke to it. In a situation like this, a base hit, man, takes him right out of it.
Yeah. Davis knows that. He needs a strikeout.
Yes, he does. He's got to keep it a 2-run game. And if he gets out of it, he did a heck of a job to get out of it after the trouble he got himself in. Yes, he got
the fastball in the outside corner and ends the inning. So he strikes out the last 2, but the Indians tack on a run. We'll go to the 9th, 5-3 Tribe. in Total Car Care. It's coming up right after the ball game here on Sports Time Ohio. The Indians lead it 5-3. They'll call on John Axford to try and close it out here in the ninth. Axford is 7 out of 8 in save opportunities on the year. And last time out, he worked a 1-2-3 ninth inning. And he talked about afterwards the fact that he had pitched the day before, and he said, I knew I had used up some pitches the day before. I wanted to get in and out of there as quickly as possible, make him put it in play. Mission accomplished.
Let's hope he can do it again right here. That would be good.
Lonnie Chisenhall, who pinch hit, stays in the game defensively now at third base. Gerard Dyson. Very good with the bunt. Takes a strike. Axford fires. Dyson takes another strike. Now Chisenhall can back up at third. Swisher can back up at first. Chisenhall was so far up, he was in his living room. First pitch of that at bat.
He's proven that's what you have to be. With this guy at the plate, you got to take it away from him. Make him slap it by you.
The 0-2 breaking ball in the dirt. Dyson wouldn't offer at it.
48, Michael Marriott. 56, Greg Holland. We're rooting for Kansas City.
Axford ready. In the 1-2 to Dyson. Lashed it into left field, a base hit. Brantley cutting it off. And give Dyson credit. He got a pitch up, out over the plate, and he just took it the other way.
Yeah, fastball up. He sure did. He got on top of it, hit a line drive. You want him to pop it up is what you do because he's not going to drive it, but he hit a line drive. 10th hit for Kansas City, so they get their leadoff man aboard.
Top of the order, Nori Aoki. He is 1 for 4 on the night. In there for a strike. Dyson, the speedster at first, but his run not important, so unlikely that we'll see him running unless he feels like he can easily steal the base.
Yeah, if he can take up and knows he can get it, why not? You take the double play out of if he knows he can get it.
Axford ready with the 0-1 to Aoki. And it's low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Axford would love to get a double play. That would work out really nice, too. If you could get in there and you won't have to face Hosmer.
Spiked it in there, and a nice grab by Gomes on the short hop.
He may run here. This could be a hit and run.
Yeah, that's out. It almost looked like it skipped off the plate. It might have. It ended up being a pretty good pick there by Gomes.
Nori Aoki came to the Brewers from Japan in 2012, and after 2 years with the Brew Crew, now in Kansas City. Runner goes. Pitch chopped towards second base. Kipnis will get him at first. Swisher with a nice play to come off the bag and apply the tag. Dyson gets in to second base, so he does stay out of the double play by running there.
Yes. Boy, oh boy, and there's a play, just a throw that brings Swisher off. I don't know if he took something off this throw again. Down from the side. And Swisher able to come off the bag and apply the tag before he hits the base. Good play.
Nicely done. So 1-on-1 out, Omar Infante, the batter. He is 0 for 2 with a couple of walks on the night. Axford fires it in there for a strike. Axford deals. Chopped towards third. Chisenhall with a nice play. 2 down. He looked the runner back to second, set his feet, made a good, strong throw on the money. And it will bring up Eric Hosmer. Revisiting our keys to the game, brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital. Justin Masterson, very solid outing tonight. He had a dozen ground ball outs, really changed speeds effectively. Santana and Cabrera, well, as Drupal was 2 for 3 in the ball game, so all around, a lot of different contributors here tonight, including Michael Bourne at the top of the lineup with a pair of runs batted in. And Jason Kipnis with a clutch 2-out RBI double that gave the Indians the lead in the 7th. Eric Hosmer, the last hope for the Royals. Not a bad last hope if you're a Kansas City fan, because he has been swinging a hot bat. He's 2 for 4 tonight. 6 hits in the series. Fastball in there for a strike. 1-1 to count. The Frosty fans are on their feet. Those who can still feel their feet. Axford trying to close it out here for the Tribe in the 9th inning. Breaking ball swung out and missed. That big overhand curve got Hosmer to go fish.
Could use one more of those. Good curveball, bounces it out in front of the plate after a good fastball away. He got him to swing at it.
Maybe a high heater right here would be the good call.
Well, just make it up above the letters.
He popped him up with that high fastball. Chisenhall makes the catch. And the Indians hang on for the 5-3 victory here tonight. A hard-fought, well-earned win for the Tribe.